Hi there, Darren Peterson again, talking about 2-5-1 licks and how to internalize vocabulary that you learn off of jazz solos. So I've been talking for the last couple of videos about a short lick that I pulled off of a John Coltrane solo on the bridge of rhythm changes. Here's the lick. So we've talked about analyzing it, practicing it in all 12 keys. We've played it in all 12 keys on exercises, played it over autumn leaves in major and minor versions. We've bent it to fit other chord changes within that context to use it as many places as possible. Used it as sort of secondary 2/5s leading back to chord changes that we think are important. And so now I'm going to just play the lick on a more complex tune, because autumn leaves is basically major and minor 2/5s in the same relative key. I'm going to play it over All the Things You Are, and I'm just going to play the lick everywhere I can in its entirety, and then play through a chorus of All the Things You Are. So with the ability to play this lick in a tune that's got complex chord changes that move in different key centers, now I'm going to take a little extract of it. I'm going to take the middle cell, which looks like 1, 2, 3, 5 in G, or 3, 4, 5, 7 in E minor, and I'm going to use that everywhere I can, just that one cell, as much as I can on the same set of chord changes. Let's take a listen. So you can see that was hard. I made some mistakes. I had to think really hard about where to place it, how to place it, where it was going to fit. And so you can imagine that for someone who is just starting out at this, it could be really difficult to try and apply that cell in as many places as possible. So it's useful to even slow down that process of thinking, which I was just trying to do in the moment, and do it on paper. So take that cell 1, 2, 3, 5 and write it any place that you feel like it seems to fit within the chords and the scales that the tune needs. And you may find that it's easier to sort of think it through and build yourself an exercise or an etude that you can then play over the chord changes and see where things fit, see how your ears like or don't like various aspects of that. This is a concept that comes out of Dave Liebman and some of the writing that he's done. He's a soprano saxophonist, tenor saxophonist, and a great teacher. And he talks about when you do a transcription and you start to work with a particular piece of vocabulary, to write it out and then write out variations on it using different rhythms or different adjustments to it, approach notes or ways to sort of mess with it, and even write out an entire solo that's using that vocabulary in various ways. So if you find that it's difficult to just mentally attack hard chord changes with a small piece of vocabulary and use it in various ways, sometimes writing can be a really helpful way to go about that. Good. So the last thing I'm going to do is play just freely over all the things you are and try to get as many instances of one cell or the other, either cell number 1 or cell number 2 from our lick, placed somewhere in the chord changes. And I'm going to just do that for like 3 choruses, and we'll see how we do. All right. So that was not perfect. I'm not super proud of some of that stuff, but there's other things in it that I kind of liked a lot that I was pleased with when I went back and listened to it. I did a count of how many times I succeeded in grabbing the vocabulary and dropping it in, and it's around 20 instances of placing the lick in different spots and using it in different ways as a fragment or as more complete versions of it. So that's pretty good. And now I'm thoroughly sick of this lick and I don't want to play it anymore, which is right where you want to be when you're internalizing vocabulary. You want to get to the point where you just can't even stand to hear it anymore. And then it's going to come out of your playing if you've applied it in these ways on tunes and tried to get it into your different playing situations and combined with other vocabulary and stuff. So this is sort of the full extent of how to just take a small piece of one solo and really work it until you can use it in other ways and in ways that don't sound very much like the original. So that is my process of assimilating vocabulary. Hope that's been helpful. And I look forward to talking with you again in the future. I've got a Sonny Rollins solo that's got some analysis that I've done with it, which I'd like to focus on next. So look forward to seeing you soon. Ta-da.